Hi everybody, I'm Kitty Tomzik and I'm the main fabric buyer for Sycamore Springs Clothier, and I want to share with you today one of the things that makes us a cut above everybody else. And quite honestly, it's our fabric, because we take very good care of making sure that our textiles are the appropriate color, design, weight, and style, and that's not easy to do in today's market. It's kind of tough to find our fabrics, but we do manage. And I wanted to first start and show you some of the books that I use when I'm looking and how I learned what to look for. Because just because you see a fabric at Joann's and you think, oh, this would be so perfect, and you buy it and you're so happy with it and you make it up and you go to an event and someone looks at you and go, huh, you got that at Joann's, didn't you? Oh, your heart will sink in your toes because it isn't quite right. And I want to educate you a little bit on what makes fabric just the right look for what you want it to do. One of the first books that I got to teach myself about textiles was this one by Florence Montgomery. She's kind of the pioneer in textiles in America, as the title obviously shows you, and she worked a lot with sample cards, extant examples, paintings, pictures, whatever you can think of. She would do a lot of research, and she has this really thick book, as you can see, full of her research, which we now use as a base for a lot of what we now know. This is just showing you one of the pages that's in here, and these are salesman samples with the swatch of each one of their fabrics in the different colorways. But you can see these are woven, and this is incredible because it shows you the woven fabrics. Stop. Printed fabrics. These happen to be cotton velveteens. Some checks and stripes. Come on, checks and stripes, where are you at? Almost there. Various checks and stripes. The only thing about her book is that not all the pictures are in color. And she does go a lot into the textile manufacturing, which is something you do need to know, and the color dyeing to help you get the appropriate look that you want. Here's another valuable book that I really enjoy. It's called Printed Textiles, and this is from the Winterthur Museum. And this is done by Linda Eaton, and this is really, really an awesome book. It's 1700 to 1850 is this particular age group, and it is concerned with the printed textiles, because you have to realize we have the printed textiles and we have the woven textiles, and right now I'm going to concern myself with just the printed ones at this point, except for the couple that were in Florence Montgomery's book. This one I think is still easily available. A wonderful example of what you'll find inside is this darling little waistcoat. It is block printed, and this is dated to 1740, but again, it can be remade into something a little bit later than that. This is what I call your bathroom book, because you can just put it in your bathroom and you just sit there, and every time you have to do your business, you just look at another page and another page, and you find an hour later you're still in there going, and quite honestly you're done, but you're still looking at your books, and that's quite okay. Another book, and you'll find I have so many, it was very, very difficult choosing what to share with you, but these are ones I think you can still get. This one, I picked this up the last time I was in London. It's the Victorian Albert Museum's Textile Collection and Designs for Printed Textiles in England from 1750 to 1850. And this is, again, another really good, and it is also in full color. Ta-da! Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful block prints. And the book is just simply full of these pages after pages after pages. But you really need to study these so you can get the feel for the design, the colors, the actual detail that makes the period clothing that we wear more accurate and authentic to what we want to present. You can't ever have too many books on toiles. This is Printed French Fabrics by the Toiles Jouy Company, Overkampf in France. And I go back to this book over and over again, and what is really wonderful about this is we've actually been able to find several fabrics that are printed in here that over the course of years have been reprinted. And there's always a big argument as to what makes a toile. Some people think a toile has a little pastoral seam with little goats and sheep running through it, and a little milk made through there, but that's not true. Toile isn't always just seams. Toile is also a particular design. And this one has a fabric that I have to show you because it's so incredible that I found it. First, I'll show you the picture. This is a gown dated to, what did I say, 1810? 1810. And you can see the little tiny designs in here are very linear. They're like the design, the flower has been just lined out like this. Well, we have been able to come across a fabric with a very similar feel like this. Can you see the similarities? The very, very linear design going this way is complemented and recreated in this fabric. And this fabric has a glaze to it, so it's a cotton sateen, which will make a stunning gown, well, maybe not quite a gown, but a stunning outfit for somebody because it's absolutely gorgeous. So here's a Regency dress waiting to happen with the actual feel, if not the color, but the actual feel of the period fabric. I have one more to show you. Here's a toile. What most people think of as toiles with the seams. And this is the balloon ascension of 1784. You can see the balloon coming up here. It's being deflated here. Well, believe it or not, I actually have some of the fabric. Here it is right here. You can see the balloon right there, the same colorway and everything. Now, this is a little heavy for me to do a short gown or anything out of, and people have a big argument about whether toile is actually used for women's clothing. And we have actually, I've seen 3 extant examples of where a toile like this was used for women's gowns. And I'd have to find that for you to show you, but there's been a big debate about them, but they're there. We do have extant examples. But because this is a little thicker, I would use it more for facing on a cape or inside lining of something where I want that accuracy and authenticity to show, but that's about the only place that I would use it because this truly is a furnishing fabric versus a fashion fabric. And this is another toile that I wanted to share with you because, again, it is so very, very special. I know that this is French because the lady I bought it from was a dealer that came from France to a particular show that I was attending, and she had bolts of this in both the red and pink colorway and the blue. And you can see it has a Greco-Roman theme. You can see here, this one here also has the Greco theme, Greek and Roman. And we have it over here as well. So again, a very wonderful period piece. This is much finer than the other one that I had out here. This actually could have been used for a lady's, something for a lady versus actual couch or seat or drapery or something of that effect. But again, finding the right fabric, while it's a challenge, you can do it. This is the last book that I want to share with you because this is so very special. This is Lady of Fashion, Barbara Johnson's album of styles and fabrics. And the amazing thing about this is this young lady, when she married, she would take a swatch of every piece of fabric she bought and had turned into a gown, and she pinned it into an old album of her father's. And she kept a record of every garment she had made. She recorded how much fabric it was, how much it cost her, and the style she wanted it made up into. And here's an example of it. And the interesting thing about this, you can see the fabric pinned here, and you can actually feel like you should be able to pick those pins up. It was printed so accurately. They took such great pains to recreate these colors to the exact colors of the fabric. So this is a wonderful virtual representation of what was there. And you can see that she included in here styles and things that she thought she'd like to have, current hairstyles, and it goes throughout, starting I think in 1748, I want to say, up until her death. She was having all these wonderful things in her album. Now this one right here is dated 1786, and she made it for a gown. She bought 5 yards, and it cost her $1.50 a yard. 1787. Look at that black brown. This is so gorgeous. I wanted to show this one because this is her Regency period. This particular fabric is dated 1812, which I love. And we once overheard a comment by a gentleman saying we didn't have enough white Regency clothing in our booth. And I got to thinking, you know, I know there's lots of white clothing and pictures and paintings and prints and things of this nature, but you have to realize that that was the wealthy people who had their pictures painted. And think about it, folks. What's the hardest color to keep clean? It's white. So if white is the hardest color to keep clean, I'm not going to go around my house dressed in a white gown just because. I want a good serviceable color. When you look through Barbara Johnson's diary, she has good serviceable colors. She has browns, drabs, grays, lavenders, greens. This is the only white piece I found in here that had a design in it, which I love. But as you can see, it's still not strictly white. I think that's a myth that's being perpetrated by some textile people when you really think about it. Number one, keeping it clean. And number two, am I going to go out to the chicken house and pick eggs in a white gown? I don't think so. Here's your example of a good serviceable color. Brown was a very, very good serviceable color. She also tells the type of fabric, whether it's a lute string or bombazine or anything else. She mentions what it is. So it's a wonderful, wonderful resource. But you have to realize that some of the pages are blank because it's actually from her father's album, and she just pinned her pages in as she went down. Good book, worth a read.